Autodesk Revit is the industry standard for building information modelling. If you're a designer working with Revit, you'll have surely experienced challenges finding the right BIM objects for your projects. Frustrations range from deleted files, lost files in folders, other users deleting or renaming files, and the list goes on. Ultimately, this frustration contributes to wasted time searching for files and a lack of trustworthiness in the files that you do find. Content Studio is a digital library solution for Autodesk Revit and was built to address these BIM object challenges. It does this by extracting additional information such as the Revit version, category, type information, parameter names, and even parameter values to make organizing, searching, and accessing your company BIM objects fast and effortless. As well as storing Revit's loadable family file type, Content Studio can store system families, drafting views, schedules, and even project container files. Furthermore, to enrich the functionality of your objects, it's also possible to attach additional information to any item within your library. For instance, you could create a user guide or some instructions and save them as a PDF for use with your BIM object. You could attach check sheets, video instructions, Dynamo scripts, even Excel spreadsheets. Now, as well as Revit file types, it's also possible to create libraries of AutoCAD DWG blocks. The infrastructure that sits behind Content Studio is composed of three main parts. The files themselves are stored on your file server within your organization, but the index which controls the library is stored in our Microsoft Azure database and held online. This blended approach allows you to maintain control and access to your own company library whilst gaining the benefits of an online database solution for indexing all your content. The third part of this is your interface, your PC. Content Studio is a desktop application and an add-on for all versions of Revit. Inside of Revit, you'll find a dedicated Content Studio tab on the ribbon. This add-in allows you to work directly in Revit to export, import, and manage your Revit content without leaving your design. Now we understand the basic principles of Content Studio, let's take a look at how you can get set up. If your company already has an account, but you don't yet have access to your company's library, you can simply use your company email address to authenticate your auto-enrollment within the system. Let's take a look at how we do that. To get started, make sure Content Studio is installed on your local PC. During the first run, you'll be asked to decide if you've received an invite by email or you need to request access. If you've not received an invite, fill out your details using your company email address and choose the closest server to your global location. On the other hand, if you have received an email invite to join your company account, use the same email address and input the account name which you'll find in the email invite. Click register, and if Content Studio can authenticate you, you'll be automatically enrolled into the system as a contributor. On successful registration, Content Studio will open and you'll have access to all your company libraries. If for any reason Content Studio doesn't open, you can launch it again from the desktop. When Content Studio opens, you'll see a menu of libraries on the left-hand side and a dashboard in the center panel. Your account can contain several different libraries of structured content. Information is typically segregated by content type, so for instance, if you're looking for a drafting view, you can search in the drafting view library and only see results for drafting view items. Conversely, if you're searching for 3D loadable families in the Families library, you don't want to see results for drafting views or schedules or even system families. This distinct data segregation allows you to focus on the type of content you're interested in for the activity you're currently performing in Revit. Clicking the main libraries sidebar item will return all results for all libraries. This is a really powerful tool and will return results across the entire suite of libraries under your company account. At a library level, the right-hand sidebar gives you insights as to what you're currently looking at, with the total amount of objects within the libraries and the number of downloads across your organization. And we also have a few admin indicators for items requiring either approval or new reversions pending review. Selecting a specific library will narrow the results in the right-hand sidebar to display only the high-level stats for that selected library. Using a combination of the quick search, version filter, and category dropdown, it's possible to locate content without the need for overly complex folders and subfolders. Viewing the results can be done in several different ways. The card view, which we can see here, allows us to see various properties of each item in a tiled format. Selecting an item in the search results changes the properties of the right-hand sidebar, allowing us to preview the library item in much more detail. By hovering over the thumbnail and right-clicking, we can view a full HD version of what would normally be a very small thumbnail. We can see its current rating, the source library, edit, and even add keywords, even renaming the file. Further down, we can attach type catalogs, which can then be leveraged by other load functions from the Revit add-in. And the sidebar also contains additional sections for viewing type properties, adding attachments, and even viewing interactions with a particular family. Each card in the search results shows some quick properties such as the file name, version, category, and status. A green status light signifies an item's been approved, and it's available for download or import into a project. A grey status signifies that an item is pending review or approval and cannot be downloaded or imported until an administrator from your organisation has reviewed and approved the item. We also have an action button under each item where we can perform several tasks. Edit in Revit is only available for administrators. Open in Revit is available for contributors, and this will support the current and newer versions of Revit that are installed and available on your local PC at that time. Let's go ahead and open this file in its native version by clicking here. A copy of the approved version is opened in the Revit Family Editor, and this can be inspected before loading it into your project. Another way of opening the family or loading it into a project is to simply left-click on the thumbnail from either the list results or the sidebar and drag and drop it into your project, which is open in the background. This will load the family directly into your projects. The list view allows you to view the content in more of a tabular format, which can sometimes be easier when trying to organize text from certain columns in alphabetical order. If we need to see more or less results, we can use the results drop-down on the right-hand side, and we also have pagination at the bottom of the screen if the results are more than the maximum specified amount. Moving into Revit, we also have an integrated search palette. This has the same functionality as the main application with a few additional features. When clicking on the search results, we can peer inside the family and see what types are embedded within it, or if the family has a type catalog associated with it, we can preview and select all the necessary types that we want to load in this family. In both the main application and the search palette, we also have the advanced search dialog box. We can use this to carry out much more detailed searches for information buried deep within families, parameters, or even parameter values locked away in type catalogs. Custom search criteria can be specified and then saved and retrieved for regular future use where necessary. Now, groups can be created from the settings page and can either be private for your own personal use, or they can be shared with other team members or even the entire organisation. Groups can be used simply as a way of cataloguing your favourite items, which you might commonly use on projects, or they can be used to assemble a list of items from one or more libraries to create a kit of parts for use on a range of similar types of projects. Items from your libraries can be added to groups in bulk using the bulk action dropdown, or items can be added one by one. One of the huge benefits of groups is that they can contain a range of different types of information. So you're not just restricted to Revit families or drafting views, you can have a combination of drafting views, schedules, system families, loadable families, making them the perfect tool for pushing a predefined kit of parts straight into a project with a few clicks. Another powerful feature to demonstrate is the Reload Families tool. Quite often, families can be updated in a library, meaning projects can be using out-of-date versions of those very same families. To know which families have been updated in a library and relating them back to your project is a huge challenge and needs to be addressed on a family-by-family basis. This is a tedious task if it's done manually, but with the Reload tool, you can get the latest and greatest with just a few clicks. To demonstrate this visually, we'll use these chairs as an example. Bear in mind that this tool can update family geometry and also family parameter values. But in this visual example, you'll see the appearance of the chairs change on screen as we update them. Launching the Reload Families tool will allow you to compare all the project families against a particular library. Content Studio will find any matching components and allow you to select and update any of the matching items, synchronizing your project with the latest information from the Content Studio library. Now that we've covered the principles of searching, loading and placing families into a project, let's take a look at how you can submit your own content into a shared library. Families can be added from your desktop or directly from a project, but both methods enforce quality assurance by holding the files in a work in progress state on your local PC before you've checked and reviewed that they are suitable for upload. When you're ready to upload your files to a shared library, you can do this one by one, or you can submit a series or everything from your work in progress all in one hit. When the files arrive in the library, they'll be held in one of the two unapproved states. This will be either awaiting approval, so if the item is completely new to the library, or pending review. And this is if the item is a duplicate of an existing item that already exists in that same library. In the latter scenario, your library administrators will need to review and compare the new file alongside the previously approved file to decide if it's suitable for approving and overwriting the original. To further complement the quality assurance, all changes are recorded, meaning you can trace who edited, who approved, and who's used any of the Revit versions. Your company's specific libraries are intended to be community developed, so start sharing your BIM objects in Content Studio and begin building your quality assured libraries today.